All right, I've been asked to give a quick primer on square root graphs. This is going to be really basic. I'm not really going to throw in much in the way of actual metrics in this. I'm just going to basically have positive, negative, negative, positive, and so on. So let's take a look at a very basic graph. So I've got a graph here. Here it is. It looks like, we'll just call it like that for a moment, yeah? So it starts at the origin, moves out this way like that, and we're just going to call that y is equal to, I'll call it y equals 2 root x, yeah? 2 being the steepness. It's a little bit steeper than normal. The normal, it might sort of come up like there. If it was 3x or 4x or 5x, it might come out like there, and so on. Now, the moment I want this to do something a bit different, like let's say, for example, I want that graph to be reflected in some way, I can do it very easily. Here's my graph again, and I'll make, there's my original graph. I'm going to call that now y is equal to 3 root x. Now I'm going to put a negative in front of the x. So here it is, negative in front of the x reflects it in the y-axis. So here it is, same deal again like that. And it's now y is equal to 3 root negative x. And there it is. Now, if I wanted it to be this to be reflected in the x-axis, then I'm going to make y negative. So I could do the same thing here and say y, negative y, is equal to 3 root x. And of course, if I want this one here to be reflected so that it looks like this, then all I do is go y, negative y, is equal to 3 root negative x. So now reflecting this one in here as this one was reflected in here. Now there's one more reflection you should be aware of, which is a very simple one, but a very important one nonetheless. So let's imagine we had something that looked roughly, let's call it well, let's go like here. There's my graph. And I'm just going to call it, just for the argument's sake, y is equal to root, let's go root x. Now, it's going to have some other components in here. It might have an a value in here. But the important thing is the whole thing has been translated up to this point here. And this is going along the y is equal to, and we'll just call that y equals 2. Yeah? The y equals 2, in other words, this has to be something in root x plus 2. And there is my equation. That is the equation I'm dealing with here, yes. Now, the moment I put a negative in front, not in front of the x, but in front of the coefficient of the square root, so it looks like that, and it reflects around the y equals 2, it becomes y is equal to negative square root, or negative the coefficient, whatever it is, a 2, a 3, a negative, whatever it is, an x, and blah, 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 that's going to be plus 2 still, yeah? And again, I could now reflect all of that in the x-axis by making this negative. I can reflect all of it in the y-axis by making this negative, and so on. But anyway, that's how the reflections work for the square root graphs. Okay, I'll get on to the other questions in the next video.